Over the course of 300,000 years of evolution, since its emergence in the heart of Africa, Homo sapiens has gone from being one of many hominin species to being the dominant, intelligent being on the planet. This is not just a survival story, but an incredible saga of unseen forces, unique adaptations, and amazing twists of fate that allowed our species to escape the fate of extinction that befell all its close and distant relatives. Documentaries and textbooks often present this process as an inevitable triumph, but behind this simplicity lies a brutal reality. Thousands of species appeared and disappeared without leaving a trace, and Homo sapiens was just a hair's breadth away from the same end. What extraordinary and sometimes shocking strategies have helped us not only survive, but also populate every corner of the earth? We are used to thinking of technology as the pinnacle of our development. But how did Homo sapiens survive when primitive stone tools were the only asset? What deep, non-obvious mechanisms of evolution have allowed us to adapt to the most severe climate changes, epidemics, and competition with other seemingly stronger species? Are you ready to learn about the hidden advantages that have given us the key to domination, and about the dark sides of our evolution that are not usually talked about? Get ready for a journey into the past that will change your understanding of how we became us. One of the fundamental but often underestimated reasons for the success of Homo sapiens was its exceptional physiological adaptations, which gave it a survival advantage. While other hominins, such as Neanderthals, developed a massive physique, Homo sapiens took the path of efficiency and endurance. This was not just an accident, but the result of millions of years of evolutionary pressure that formed a unique biological profile. Studies show that the skeleton of Homo sapiens is lighter and less massive than that of Neanderthals. This does not mean weakness. On the contrary, it is a sign of high metabolic efficiency. A less voluminous body requires less energy to support life and movement. In an environment where every calorie resource produced was vital, the ability to spend them more economically gave a huge advantage. This economical body design allowed our ancestors to travel huge distances in search of food and water, while spending a minimum of energy. In addition, Homo sapiens has developed unique adaptations for prolonged aerobic exercise. Our ancestors were natural long-distance runners, which is not the case with other hominins. Broad shoulders, narrow pelvis, long legs, powerful Achilles tendons, and the presence of developed gluteal muscles. All these anatomical features that have provided an unsurpassed ability to run. According to scientists, this allowed our ancestors to apply the strategy of starvation hunting, persistence hunting, when they pursued prey such as antelopes for many hours in the scorching sun, bringing it to complete exhaustion. Animals, despite their speed, are not capable of such a long run without overheating, since their thermoregulatory systems are less effective than those of humans with their numerous sweat glands and lack of a thick coat. This tactic, while seemingly exhausting, was actually incredibly effective and safe, minimizing the risk of a direct collision with dangerous prey. This ability to pursue for a long time allowed Homo sapiens to capture large game that was inaccessible to other predators or hominins who relied on ambush hunting or short bursts. It was this invisible power, the ability to run for hours without getting too hot, that gave them an incredible advantage in a world where food was worth its weight in gold, and every successful catch could mean the survival of the entire group. Another important aspect was increased thermoregulation. Heavy sweating and almost complete absence of body hair, except for the head which needed protection from the sun, allowed Homo sapiens to effectively cool down even in the hot climate of the savanna. While most mammals are forced to stop to cool off, Homo sapiens was able to keep moving, which was critical for both hunting and migration. This feature allowed them to be active in the hottest time of the day when many predators were resting, which gave additional security and the opportunity to collect food. Thus, compared to other species, Homo sapiens developed not just strength or intelligence, but a unique combination of endurance, efficiency, and thermoregulation, which became one of the key factors for its survival and spread around the planet. These were fundamental biological advantages that formed the basis for all subsequent cultural and technological advances. Who would have thought that our apparent weakness, lack of fur and less muscle, actually turned out to be our greatest evolutionary advantage? If physiological adaptations gave Homo sapiens legs, then its unique cognitive abilities gave it a mind capable of unprecedented innovation and adaptation. Approximately 50,000 toners, 70,000 years ago, there was a so-called cognitive leap or cultural revolution that sharply distinguished Homo sapiens from all other species. It was a watershed moment when the human brain began to work in a completely different way, opening up new horizons for survival. The essence of this leap was the development of complex, symbolic thinking. It's not just the ability to use tools, it's the ability to create abstract concepts, communicate complex information through speech, and shape myths, rituals, and art. It was this ability that allowed Homo sapiens to go beyond direct, tangible experience and interact with the world on a qualitatively new level, building deeper connections between people and the surrounding reality. Examples of this cognitive breakthrough are striking. Art and jewelry. The appearance of rock art, for example in the cave of Chauvet or Altamira, the creation of figurines, such as the Venus de Willendorf, the use of shells and bones to make beads and pendants. These are not just prettiness. They are evidence of the ability to abstract, symbolize, create an identity, and form a group identity. These objects serve not only for decoration, but also for transmitting complex information, strengthening social ties, and perhaps even for magical rituals designed to ensure good luck in hunting or protection from evil forces. What was the true function of these ancient works of art? Just aesthetics, or something much deeper related to survival? Sophisticated tools and technologies. Although Neanderthals used Mousterian technology, Homo sapiens developed much more diverse and specialized tools, such as thin, sharp blades, flakes, bone needles for sewing clothes, harpoons for fishing, and most importantly, throwing weapons, including spear throwers and possibly primitive bows and arrows. These innovations have increased the efficiency of hunting and reduced risks, allowing you to get food without coming into direct contact with dangerous animals. This was a real technological breakthrough that radically changed the balance of power in the ancient world, giving Homo sapiens an unprecedented advantage. Advanced speech and social networks. The ability to use complex, grammatically structured speech enabled Homo sapiens to effectively transfer experience, knowledge, and ideas across generations, as well as coordinate large groups. This contributed to the formation of complex social networks, the exchange of resources and information over large territories, which was critical in a changing climate and unpredictable resources. Perhaps not physical strength, but the ability to gossip and negotiate complexly has become our main weapon in the fight for survival, allowing us to create and maintain extensive alliances. This cognitive leap allowed Homo sapiens not only to adapt to the environment, but also to actively transform it to suit their needs. They began to build more sophisticated dwellings, make clothing from hides that could protect them from the harsh cold, and develop more sophisticated survival strategies. It was their ability to innovate, learn, and interact symbolically that was the cornerstone of their success and allowed them to colonize virtually every habitat on the planet. How did a species that was once just one of many outperform all its competitors so quickly and effectively? Watch this video to the end to find out the answer to this question. While many species, including Neanderthals, were specialists adapted to certain conditions and types of food, Homo sapiens was strikingly flexible and adaptable. This trait has become one of the most important factors of its survival and distribution on the planet, allowing it to develop a wide variety of ecological niches and colonize territories inaccessible to other hominins. One of the key manifestations of this flexibility was the expansion of the food niche. Unlike Neanderthals, whose diets were strongly focused on large land game, Homo sapiens showed a much broader range of food preferences. Archaeological evidence suggests that our ancestors actively ate small game, birds, rodents, hares. These animals are harder to get, but they are a reliable source of protein and energy when big game is unavailable. Fish and seafood. Colonization of coastal areas and the ability to fish, collect shellfish, and other marine life gave Homo sapiens access to a stable and nutrient-rich resource. This is especially important because seafood is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, essential for brain development. Plant foods. A variety of berries, roots, tubers, and nuts. Homo sapiens had a deep knowledge of edible and poisonous plants, which made it possible to effectively use local plant resources. This omnivore gave Homo sapiens an incredible advantage in the face of a changeable climate and unstable resources. If one type of food became unavailable, they could switch to another. Neanderthals, being more specialized hunters, suffered from a decline in the populations of large animals that they mainly hunted. Did they realize that diversifying their diet could be the key to survival, or was it an unconscious strategy? The flexibility of Homo sapiens is also evident in its ability to colonize a wide variety of landscapes. From the hot African savannas to the icy expanses of Siberia and tundra, from humid rainforests to arid deserts, our species has successfully adapted to all conditions. This adaptability was not purely biological. It was the result of a combination of factors. Technological innovations create specialized tools for different types of environments. For example, harpoons for fishing, scrapers for processing hides in cold regions. Cultural adaptations, the development of clothing, the construction of various shelters, the development of fire for heating and cooking. Social organization, the ability to form both small, mobile groups for hunting and gathering, in larger communities capable of joint projects. It is this remarkable flexibility, the ability to learn quickly and adapt to new conditions, that allowed Homo sapiens to populate all continents, including Australia and America, covering huge distances and mastering completely unfamiliar environments. How did they manage to cross the oceans and deserts using only primitive technology? This question still amazes the imagination. The survival of Homo sapiens in the harsh conditions of the Paleolithic period largely depended on its unique ability to form complex social structures and use the so-called crowd effect or scale effect. While other hominins lived in relatively small, isolated groups, Homo sapiens developed the ability to create larger and more integrated communities, which gave it critical advantages. One of the key elements of this social complexity is the ability to organize work and share resources over large areas. Archaeological finds indicate the existence of networks of exchange of raw materials, for example, flint for tools, and products for hundreds of kilometers. This means that groups of Homo sapiens maintained connections with each other, which provided them with insurance in the event of a local resource shortage or disaster. If there was a famine in one region, another group could provide assistance or shelter. How did they build these vast networks without a written language and advanced means of communication? The ability to create larger social groups, ranging from a few dozen to perhaps hundreds of individuals, offered many advantages. Efficiency of hunting. Large groups could organize larger and more complex hunting strategies, such as corralling mammoths or other large animals. This made it possible to get a huge amount of meat, which could then be divided among all members of the group, ensuring survival. Defense. The larger the group, the harder it is for predators or hostile groups to attack it. Combining forces provided better protection and survival for individuals. Knowledge transfer and learning. Larger groups have more people to teach and share their experience. Children could learn from a variety of adults, acquiring a wide range of skills, from making tools to knowing edible plants. This accelerated cultural evolution and adaptation. Genetic diversity. Larger and more interacting populations had higher genetic diversity, making them less vulnerable to disease and allowing them to adapt more quickly to environmental changes. This was especially important during periods of epidemics. In addition, Homo sapiens developed complex forms of social organization based on the division of labor by gender and age. Men could specialize in hunting, women in gathering and caring for children. Older people, who often became a burden in other species, Homo sapiens, played the role of keepers of knowledge in Homo sapiens, passing on the experience of survival to younger generations. Perhaps it was the respect for old age and experienced members of the group that was the secret of our success. This social complexity, coupled with unique communication abilities, allowed Homo sapiens to create a flexible and resilient survival system that significantly outperformed the strategies of other hominins. Economies of scale, when joint efforts produce results that exceed the sum of individual efforts, have become a key factor in the struggle for survival. How could so many people live together without laws and governments? Watch this video until the end to find out the secret of their ancient society. One of the most powerful yet invisible survival tools of Homo sapiens has become cultural accumulation. The ability not just to pass on knowledge from generation to generation, but also to constantly improve it, creating a kind of cultural databank. This process was closely related to a unique feature of our species, the grandmother effect. Cultural accumulation means that each new generation does not start from scratch. It inherits from the previous generation not only genes, but also a huge amount of accumulated knowledge, skills, and technologies. This includes knowledge of nature, which plants are edible, which are poisonous, animal habits, knowledge of climate cycles and migration routes, technologies, improved methods of making tools, methods of making fire, building shelters, and processing materials, social strategies, methods of organizing hunting, rules for allocating resources, and ways to resolve conflicts. Each generation did not just repeat, but made its own improvements, even minor ones, to this cultural baggage. This led to constant, albeit slow, progress and increased adaptability of the species. If one group discovered a more efficient way to hunt, this knowledge could be passed on to other groups through trade networks or migrations. The grandmother effect is a term that describes a unique phenomenon for humans. Women continue to live and play an active role in the society even after the end of reproductive age. In most other primates, females die quickly after menopause. In Homo sapiens, older women, grandmothers, played and continue to play a critical role in the survival of the group. Their functions were invaluable. Knowledge transfer. Grandmothers were the guardians of age-old wisdom, passing on knowledge about survival, medicinal plants, parenting methods, and social norms to younger generations. Their experience was particularly valuable in times of crisis or climate change. Assistance in raising offspring, freed from the constant cycle of pregnancy and childbirth, grandmothers were able to help their daughters and daughters-in-law take care of their babies. This allowed new mothers to return to gathering or other activities earlier, which increased the overall productivity of the group and, consequently, the chances of survival of the next generation. This also contributed to shorter birth intervals, which led to faster growth of the Homo sapiens population, reducing the burden on the group. If the mother died, the grandmother could take full care of the orphans, preventing their death. This grandmother effect provided not only continuous transmission of accumulated cultural experience, but also increased reproductive success and survival of offspring. The ability to have free hands to care for children, freeing up the labor force of young mothers, was a revolutionary strategy that radically distinguished Homo sapiens from other hominins. Was this a deliberate evolutionary strategy, or just a unique biological feature that gave us the key to dominance? The answer to this question is still being debated. Thus, cultural accumulation, supported by the unique grandmother effect, created a powerful adaptation mechanism that allows Homo sapiens to constantly improve, learn, and transfer knowledge, which was a decisive factor in its fight against extinction. We owe it to our great-grandmothers that we exist at all. Homo sapiens' journey from humble beginnings in Africa to becoming the dominant species on the planet is not just a survival story, it's a saga of astounding adaptability, cognitive breakthroughs, and social innovation that has allowed our species to outlive all of its competitors. We looked at just a few of these key factors, from metabolic efficiency and endurance to incredible symbolic thinking, from flexibility in finding food to creating complex social structures and the priceless granny effect. Each of these aspects, acting not singly, but in a complex interaction, created a powerful synergy that gave Homo sapiens an unsurpassed advantage in the struggle for existence. We didn't just survive, we flourished, colonized every continent, and created civilizations that changed the face of the planet forever. This story teaches us that a person's strength is not just in their muscles or brain size, but also in their amazing ability to learn, collaborate, transfer knowledge, and adapt. Our past, full of challenges and triumphs, shapes who we are today. Understanding these ancient survival mechanisms allows us to take a fresh look at our own nature and the amazing journey that brought us here. If this dive into 300,000 years of our evolution has made you wonder about the power of the human spirit and the hidden secrets of our past, subscribe to our channel to continue this fascinating journey into the world of science and history. What other hidden benefits are waiting for us in the depths of our DNA and collective memory?